Hi there, Phil Simborg. Uh, Two-away, four-away is one of my favorite scores. It's a match to five, and in this case, white has 1 point and red has 3 points. So red is winning, and he is two away. And you need to get used to the away scores because that's what really matters in your checker play and cube decisions. And until you're used to them, it seems kind of funny because the one with the lower number is winning. So if you're two away and you only need 2 points to win the match, you're winning the match. And people sometimes get those kinds of things reversed when they look at match equity tables and take point tables and things like that. So clearly, red has an advantage in this match because he's winning and he only needs 2 points to win the match. And people get very confused on both cube action and checker play at this score. At this score, red is really going to have a huge advantage when the cube is at 1 when it comes to gammons. If he wins a gammon, he wins the match. Whereas if white wins a gammon, it only gets him to 3 points and to a tie. So while the cube is at 1, the advantage is really with red. He can win a game and get to Crawford and have a huge lead in the match, or he can win a gammon. That huge lead is somewhat eliminated if the trailer, or white, is smart enough to give the cube fairly early. He shouldn't give it stupidly, but if he gives it fairly early, then what happens is that red gains nothing from winning a gammon. His gammon value is 0, and he gets nothing from it. Winning 2 points is all he needs to win the match. The cube is on 2. Therefore, when the cube is turned, white can now play more aggressively to win the game. And as a result, will probably win a little bit more often because he doesn't have to worry about getting gammon. He's going to play what's called gammon go. Red, on the other hand, is then, after the cube is turned, going to be playing as if it's gammon save. He has to try and win the game and keep from losing, but at the same time, he can't. He can only take a limited number of risks because he doesn't want to get gammoned. So the gammon value for white is 1.0. The gammon value for red is 0 after the cube is turned, and then you're on gammon go and gammon save. Now, what people get confused about, one of the things people get confused about, is that on the opening roll, when the cube is not turned, should you play your opening moves as if they're gammon go and gammon save? Opening moves and early moves change. You don't play the same opening moves. Of course, you play 3-1 the same, and 4-2, and 6-5, and 5-3. But many of your other moves are going to change depending on whether you want to be aggressive to try and win gammons or play more carefully to try and protect from winning gammons. The number one way to protect from winning gammons is to try to make an advanced anchor in your opponent's board. So that's red's strategy here. Red would like to make white's 5-point or 4-point or 7-point or escape checkers and not get too many checkers back because that reduces the gammon risk quite a bit. And white would like to prevent that by attacking and by priming and hitting. So red's really trying to play a racing game if he can. White's trying to play a hitting game or a priming game if he can. Probably more like a hitting game if he can in the early game. But the cube hasn't been turned yet. And the answer is that you should assume the cube is going to get turned because that's probably what's going to happen, or that's what's going to happen in most situations where red gets into any kind of trouble at all. So red should anticipate that and play even his opening moves as if he's on gammon save. And white should play even his opening moves as if he's on gammon go. This is not my theory. This is the mathematically proven theory by Extreme Gammon. If you put in the opening move of any kind you want, for example, put in a 4-1, let's just do that real quick. Let's put in a 4-1 for red. Red should be playing as if it's gammon save. He needs to split the back checker. This has already been rolled out by Extreme Gammon, and you'll see the rollout tells you it's right to split, and slotting would be a huge mistake with 4-1. But if white got an opening 4-1, he's not going to care about getting gammons if he's playing like gammon go. He wants to prevent red from making the 5 point, so he's going to slot it right away and hope he doesn't get hit. If he gets hit, then he'll get into a back game or a hitting game. So he's going to slot with the look at this. He's going to slot again. It's already been rolled out. Extreme Gammon doesn't understand strategy or strategic plays. It only lives and dies by the numbers, and the numbers. It's up to us mortal humans who cannot multiply or in our head 1,296 rolls to the end of the game so many million times and do this math. We have to come up with theories. So our theories that we use here is gammon go and gammon save. Now, let's pretend that this applies to the second roll, third roll, and all the rolls. Let's pretend that white got lucky and got an opening 4-2, and of course he's going to make the point. And now red, who is leading the match, has a 5-2 to play. How would you play it? Now again, you're going to be playing like gammon save. You don't want to get gammon. How would you play it? Well, right off the bat, this is where a lot of people make a mistake. And they think, well, he's already made a point here, and it looks like he's getting ready to attack. I don't want to get gammon. I'm not going to split these back checkers. And they're going to bring 2 checkers down, as opposed to taking the risk of splitting the back checkers. Well, splitting the back checkers, I'll show you very quickly, but I rolled it out, and with the rollout it's about 0.007 error. It's not quite a blunder, but you must split the back checker. You must fight very quickly for the higher points. He doesn't have that much to attack you when you make this play. He only points on you with a 5-3, a double 5, a double 3. That's not that many rolls, and if he hits you loose, you're going to come in most of the time. 32 times out of 36 you come in on a 4-point board. By the way, those are numbers you need to learn and know. And if he doesn't hit you, you stand a much better chance of making this point with a 4-2, making this point with a 6-4, just making the 3-point with any 2, just escaping by rolling a 9 and only having 1 checker back, which greatly reduces your chances of getting gammon. So you want to fight early before he has builders. If you make the other play and you bring 2 down here, first of all, you're vulnerable to a 6-4 to have another checker back here, which can cause problems. Second of all, if he just brings checkers down, let's say he rolls a 3-2 and just brings checkers down now, because you have not split, these checkers are pretty much immune from getting hit. There's not too many rolls that hit them. Pardon me. If you had split, pardon me. If you had split, you would have twice as much chance, maybe even more than that, to hit these checkers. There's another reason why the split causes white real problems. The 8-point is stripped after he made the 4-point. Now you split. What happens is a couple of his best rolls would be a 6-1 to make the bar or a 3-1 to make the 5-point. Now that you've split, he's going to pay a big price to make either of those plays, because you can, by the way, this checker would not be here. You can now hit the lone checker that's on the 8-point. So even at normal match scores, even when you're not playing gammon save, when your opponent makes the 4-point or 5-point on the opening roll and is down to 2 checkers on the 8-point, that screams at splitting. He's trying to prime you. He's got a game that's priming you. You don't want to get stuck on the ace-point. You want to put pressure on this play. Another reason a lot of people don't make this play is they think, wait a minute, if I make this play, he's going to double me. White's going to double. Well, do you think white should double this early in the game after you've made a play like this? Do you think it's too soon for white to double? Let's put white on roll. By the way, the answer is he should double. And this, a lot of people miss this cube. But here's the main point. He's got a huge double here, because now when white looks like he can get gammoned about 12% here, they're now worth 0, these 12% gammons, and these 18% gammons that he wins is worth 1. So white's net equity in this position is much, much higher after he gives the cube, because now gammons have such great value for him. But here's the kicker. If you didn't split, he has a double anyway, because this is a worse position for you, even though it's not as gammonish, because white has a stronger game, that will give him a double anyway. So either way, you're going to get doubled. As a matter of fact, on the second roll, after he rolls a 4-2 or a 3-1, you're going to get doubled on most of the rolls that you can roll. You're not going to get doubled if you have a strong roll like double 6, double 3, double 2. If you roll a 3-1 or 4-2, he doesn't have a double. But even if you rolled a 5-3 and made your 3-point, he still has a double. How do I know all this stuff? It's study. It's not that I'm brilliant. I've studied this. Let's say red rolls a 5-3. And by the way, this is the proof that any idiot like me can become a decent backgammon player if you spend enough hours studying and learning these things. This is a double for white. Not a huge double. Very small. This is about as close as it gets. But it's still a double. 6-5. What if red had rolled a 6-5? Does white have a double? He really doesn't have quite as good a game because you've escaped a checker and so on. But because this checker is now more vulnerable, this is right on the edge. This is real close. You'd have to roll this out a long time to find out. Look at this. Did I say it's on the edge? How do you get any closer than 0-0-0? So the answer is to know all of the replies. By the way, let's go back to the initial question about the 5-2. The same thing is true if you roll a 3-2. You split. If you roll a 4-5, you'd split with the 4 and bring the 5 down. Virtually anything, 2-1, anything that you can use to split, as long as it's not a 3-1 or a 4-2 or a 6-1 that makes good points on your side, you're going to split. Because you want to get moving now while you can before you're under pressure, and because that's the proper way to play gammon save. Gammon save doesn't mean you play like a total chicken the entire game. If you look at my tip of the day on the USBGF Facebook page, it says that if you play too safely in the early game, you're going to get in trouble faster. Well, that's what this means. Even at a normal match score, a lot of beginners, when they have an opening 4-1, are going to play 13-8. You can't play any safer than that, and it's a horrible play. Because you're playing so safe, you're getting stiff, and you're going to have fewer rolls on your next few rolls that don't leave shots anyway, or don't make points, and you're going to be forced to leave shots after he's made a better board and positioned himself better to clobber you. Okay, so study this. Think about it. At different scores, by the way, at different scores, some of these plays will change, but this play's pretty much the same at just about any score. I'm very proud that I work with Murata Khan and Perry to develop a program called BG Opening Ceremony. www.bgopeningsceremony.com. It's already rolled out at least 5,000 times every first and second roll play at all 4 kinds of scores. Here are the 4 kinds of scores. Unlimited, which is like money, double match point, gammon save, and gammon go. You can hit any one of these buttons and see how each play would change at any one of those scores, and that's any play anytime during the game. But if you want to look at the first 2 moves already rolled out and compare how would I play a given move, and it's all there, all rolled out for you. And then that ceremony also has the 3rd roll. It's been endorsed by the USBGF, and we make donations to the USBGF and support the USBGF, so I'm not embarrassed to give it a little bit of a plug. If you want to buy it, it's $25 at www.bgopeningsceremony.com, and many of the top players in the world have bought and praised that program. It's a great program. Also get an Excel spreadsheet that will help you with these. So, I hope this was educational for you. I hope you enjoyed it, and please keep your comments, questions, and suggestions coming. I appreciate them all, even some of the negative ones or the critiques that tell me that they would like me to do this and that a little bit differently. And I love that. That helps me improve. Thanks for watching. Bye.